Next weekend, I will be at the COMMUNITYx Social Impact Summit in California, a forum that will bring young activists together to discuss some of the most pressing social issues ahead of the 2020 election, including gun reform. And joining me now is Chloë Rogers, founder and CEO at COMMUNITYx. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, Joy.
So I know that similar to Brandon, gun violence has a personal issue in your own history. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I was actually inspired to found COMMUNITYx because of my parents, specifically my dad, who's African American and is a survivor of an extreme case of police misconduct and discrimination that left him permanently handicapped with a bullet fragment still lodged in his spine. The year before I was born, he was living on the south side of Chicago in Hyde Park, heard a loud banging on the door, went to go see what it was. By the time he got there, a group of plainclothes Chicago police officers began to raid my grandmother's home and opened fire on my dad over a dozen times.
Wow. That's a harrowing story. And so how do you get from that to deciding that tech kind of is the way that you can make a difference, that is the kind of activism that you want to do?
Yeah, so I actually graduated from Howard School of Business with a full-time offer to Google. So I spent a couple of years at Google and got a lot of experience in the tech space and decided that it was time for me to leave and really merge this tech activism together in order to form COMMUNITYx. So at COMMUNITYx, what we do is our mission is to unite humanity and mobilize the world, and we do so by creating digital and in real life experiences within the social impact space that connect people around shared causes and movements.
And how do you do that in a way that's different than, for instance, Twitter, which is saying, well, you can make a hashtag, you can combine together, you can group with other people who have similar goals and have similar activist ideas?
So our space is specifically for social impact and activism. The data that we collect is specifically related to that. So we allow our users to say, hey, I care about gun control, the climate crisis, and women's rights. We take that data, input it into our core algorithm, and then suggest other allies locally, nationally, and globally that person should connect with based on their interests.
Yeah, and do you feel that activism that is strictly digital can connect with activism that's on the ground? That's been one of the criticisms of sort of social media that's all in the digital space, that it doesn't get to the activism that's actually marching in the streets.
That's right, and I think that that's why we also have the in real life component at COMMUNITYx. Our Social Impact Summit is of course next Friday in Santa Clara, California, and there we'll be bringing together different activists across the space in real life to talk about some of the most prescient issues that those people are facing in their communities today.
And so what can people expect? I know I'm going to be there. I'm going to be talking with you, interviewing you in a little bit longer form and talking with Brandon and other activists. What do you expect people to get out of this forum?
Our young activists that are participating are going to have the opportunity to tell their stories. We have some of the young strikers from the climate crisis that gathered yesterday coming to share the work that they've been doing and all of the coordination that went into that mobilizing, and also to talk about how our platform and tech can be helpful in accelerating that work forward.
Yeah, and do you think, well, I mean, we're out of time, but at the end of the day, do you think that what you're doing can actually move forward and, let's say, make something like gun reform actually happen? Is this the way we can do it? Because it's young people that you're really connecting together.
Yeah, Gen Z is not only the most digitally native generation, but also the most socially conscious generation in human history. So I think if we can bring those two things together, then we really have the opportunity to make a big difference.
And I can tell everybody that Chloe's really super smart. I know my husband is super supportive. He sits on your board, full disclosure, to let people know. So we're big fans of yours. So congratulations on what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. And thank you to Chloë Rogers. I'll see you next week and more AM Joy after the break.